21st of January, Friday afternoon, about 4:30 in the afternoon. I just did a hill climb. They call it Presa Dieci, take number 10. It's one of the steepest. It doesn't seem much. It's a 10-degree gradient on my bike. For those of you who think, oh, it's only 10 degrees, well, come over here and we'll do it together and then we'll talk about it afterwards. Get the heart rate up for at least 20 minutes. And soglia in Italian means threshold. Anyway, I'm standing outside this, used to be a bed and breakfast. This was a bed and breakfast. Really good business, selling fresh eggs. Had goats, goat milk, or eco-friendly stuff. People used to sleep here. I don't know where, tourists from Austria, Italians coming from down south, up north, would stay here. It was a bed and breakfast business. It's gone. It's closed. It went broke. The lack of tourists. Years gone by, this would be full of, I can remember riding up here, it'd be full of Austrian and German cyclists. A lot of Germans, a lot of Austrians doing cycle tours, and they'd stay at these places. The traditional Italian food. Germans love touring. They love travelling. They're everywhere. We haven't seen much of them in the last couple of years, for obvious reasons. Even the Austrians. Anyway, this is I'm at the top of the Montello. It's the intersection up the road there. Nice and quiet. It's the remnants of their equipment. No, it's a trailer they used to use. They can come and pick it up later or what. They used to sell eggs, free-range chickens used to run here. Also had goats. Here comes there's traffic go by. Well, just saw an interesting film, this Australian self-taught economist about the Chinese Evergrande crisis. And there's another company called Country Garden. See, no one knows the debt situation of the Chinese. It's never recorded. No one knows where the money goes, even in the West for that matter. Who owns debt? But it's a problem the average person, one, chooses to ignore, not because they're ignorant and stupid, because it's very complex. It's hard to understand. In my spare time, I study all these things about the economy. But the average suburban dweller who works in a supermarket, or even a tradesperson, electrician, they're always occupied, consuming energy, working, doing quotes, organising their staff. Don't have time to research what's really going on in the economy. How this affects us all. Anyway, the Chinese debt problem, I think it's going to, it's imploding now. It's going to have knock-on effect, that's for sure. I just saw for example, an elderly couple drove by in a car. You talk to that generation who were born after the Second World War, 1945 up to 1962, 3. They had it pretty good because the war ended and there was massive. First of all, in Europe there was the Marshall Plan. Americans were all cashed up and wanted to secure the Western Europe because the Russians were a threat. So there was free money sloshing around. Work, everyone had a job, full time. Didn't even have to just sit in the back office and, I don't know, do the check off the staff roll. But there wasn't much effort required. Like today, you've got to have like 10 degrees certificates. No Word, Excel, pivot tables. All these sorts of things that the person, if 60s, 70s, hasn't got a clue. Ask person who's 60, okay, you can do a pivot table on Excel, wouldn't know what you're talking about. I've got a general basic knowledge of Excel. Anyway, apart from that, I'm just going to finish off my ride go along this ridge line here, up, look at the church, look at the view above and beyond the river Piave, and then come back, because as you can see, the streets aren't illuminated here, even though you're not far from the city centre. It's just how things are in Italy are. Once you go 500 metres, a kilometre out of the town centre city, there's no lighting. Certain areas there is. Like this place here, they haven't got lights. There's no street lighting here. This probably would have been built in the late 1800s. Would have been an old farmstead. People would have, I don't know, they could have worked on the plains behind my back here and lived here. Family, 2 families. Ordinarily you got 3 dwellings, that white and the grey one. That would ordinarily be maybe some on the other side. About 3 families living there, maybe 4. May seem like one house, but there's actually 2 families living there, 2 separate residences. At one stage it's converted into one. You can see one mailbox. It probably would have been here in the First World War, because I don't think the Austrians got that far. They penetrated certain sections of this hill. Here they were stopped. If you go a bit further on there, they actually went over and down. The furthest point of penetration was about 2 kilometres down, and then the Italians pushed them back with the help of the British. There were a British battalion here, and there was another one further down the river. First World War. But seems strange, because 19 years later they were allies, mortal enemies in 1918, and allies in 1935. And fascism took over Italy. Anyway, we'll see some interesting developments in Europe. Russians, they're poking the Russian bear again. No. The average person, I think, doesn't seem to want to talk about this. The things you got to start thinking about. You got to have a plan B. Have you got some food stored for at least a week? Water? Have you got cash available? The banks could just shut, a bank run. Have you got something you can barter with for food? Like here, a lot of these farms have produce. You can come out here and get eggs, meat, cheese. There's a house beyond here. He produces a lot of food. You just get them on the bike, knapsack, and trade. Anyway, maintaining my fitness regime, and everyone should too, as well. Look after your health, not just your financial well-being, but also physical well-being. Anyway, I'm going to go back home because it gets dark really quickly. I've done my hard work. I'm going to ride down this hill. And descend down this hill. This car just went down. And then ride on the plains. Just have another panoramic view. Goscain. Very peaceful here. On any given day during the summer, this would be just full of riders coming up and down, up and down. Just the sun goes down about 8 o'clock here, now 4:30, and I didn't see anyone pass through on a bike. In the spring and summer, I'll be standing at least a dozen bikes that pass by me. But not that many come up this way, because from the beginning right to the end, you're working in threshold, 140, 150 heart rate. A lot of people do the long route, they come up in a slow incline. And it's a beautiful area, the Montello it's called, if you want to check it on your... If you think I'm bullshitting, just look up Presa Dieci. You can probably see that intersection there on Google Maps with the ridge line. Called number 12, Presa Dieci. Anyway, pretty sad to see this business go, because they always had fresh produce. They had goats, all farm animals. They were just roaming free here. They used to eat all all along there, along the ridge line, eating grass and other produce. And it was like a homestay. Tourists would stay there and they'd eat a breakfast, lunch, dinner. It's gone. Anyway. There's the chemtrails from the flight heading off to Great Britain, in that direction anyway. I wonder how much longer that's going to go for before they start clamping down on flights. This greenhouse gas emissions emergency. It doesn't bother me. I came in Italy 2006 and I rode summer, winter, rain, snow, ice, 2006, 7, 8, first 3 years on my bike. Doesn't bother me. First couple of months it's hard and you get used to it. Just make sure in the winter time you got heaps of covering, and they call it impermeabile, water resistant clothing. So I have a lot of stories to tell this house of families that would have lived there. It's been probably refurbished inside. At the back of it they probably would have had stables, horses and whatnot, hay, stored the food for their farm animals. Anything detracting from this landscape is a trailer there, but breathing fresh air, the silence. Like Bjorn Bull Hansen says, you got to get into nature, and he's dead right. You come out here, instead of drinking a litre of wine, or like say in Italian, a stupefacente, which is like a mind-altering substance. You come out here, just feel, and go back home, you feel regenerated, rejuvenated. Physical exercise, a threshold that got any anxiety, or if you're descending into negative thoughts, physical exercise. Don't take pharmaceutical drugs. Meditation, do that. But this is a form of meditation. Once you get to threshold, you stop thinking about problems. You're concentrating on the fatigue, and all the rubbish disappears from your mind. And when you come home, you feel even better. I think I'll be doing 55. I'll be doing exercise. Even cycling's no impact. Only when you come off or when you're hit by a car. But the best exercise you can do, there's no trauma involved, is swimming. You can push hard, easy. It's the best thing for you. I teach people in their 70s. I've got one client, he's 75, he swims back and forth, does about half a kilometre. Rather than sitting in front of a computer screen or TV waiting to die. Even you young people, get out there. Metaverse, good idea, but this is the real world. Musky. I don't know how you're going to do about creating this sort of... It's going to take, I think, centuries to create this sort of environment on Mars. It's took probably millions of years to evolve like this. The planet. There's geographical features, how these trees grow, how they form, the molecular structure. Just millions of years of evolution. What he's going to do on Mars. He puts these images of Mars on Twitter. It's like a man sitting on a rock looking at dirt. We do these peculiar things, human beings. I mean, we're still using old technology, chemotherapy, to treat tumours, and here we have the capacity almost to go and live on another planet, and we still can't cure the most evil, hideous disease known to human beings. It's hardly anyone talks about is cancer. Stomach cancer, bowel cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer. I mean, him and Bezos, even you so-called left-wing, not left-wing, but left-leaning opinionists like Russell Brand, Joe Rogan. There's another guy, that American guy, forget his name. Anyway, just Joe Rogan and this other American guy got a net worth of 250 million. That's $500 million. Get together with Bezos and Musk and come up with something, a program that's going to defeat cancer. So, the best years of your life in terms, just when you get it all together, mentally, we got all this knowledge and wisdom, and you had all this experience, all these failures and victories. You get to 80 and you disappear, but you got all this knowledge. I mean, you go on for another 20, 30 years and contribute more to society and make human life better. The billions are spent on cancer. It's mainly on pharmaceutical treatments. I never hear Musk talking about it. He talks about it in terms, you're going to die anyway. Look at a fruit fly. Shows how limited knowledge he's got about DNA. He says, a fruit fly, you can look after it 100%, but it'll die eventually. We're not fruit flies, we're human beings, and we've got a different DNA. He talks about things out of his field that he has little to no knowledge of, which is really annoying. You can't be an expert on DNA and be launching rockets and designing cars and building tunnels and doing a payment system. I mean, that's why you've got different fields. You study physics. In physics, there's no subjects on sociology or social psychology or psychotherapy. But everyone thinks everything he says, we've got to write that down, record it, listen to it. Anyway. Bye for now.